Supercoach 360.
Mission Supercoach 360. Animation.
Supercoach 360 podcast.
Brad Smith has been doing some stuff for us over at supercoach360.com. If you haven't checked out supercoach360.com, there's heaps of articles and write-ups on Supercoach and different tips and tricks and strategies, and from a bunch of the people who we talked to on last week's show. But he's been doing some more stuff on PPM. He watched the trials over the weekend and he crunched some of the numbers with some of the awesome dudes from Supercoach Live Chat Supercoach Live Chat?
Yeah, why not? What's that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Supercoach Live Chat. That do the live Supercoach scoring. I believe they crunched some potential Supercoach numbers over the weekend, and Brad's done a little thing for us today. So we're going to go to that.
Good evening, Juzzy. Good evening, lads. Hope everyone's well and you've all had a fun time watching some great footy over the weekend. It was pretty good to see a lot of football back. Just here tonight, just have a quick chat about some of the stars that shone out during the 7 games that I managed to get to watch. There's one yet to go, I think, and I didn't get to see all of that one. But anyway, if anybody's interested, I have put an article up on supercoach360.com. If you haven't been to the site, supercoach360.com, it is the place for all your information. There it is right there. Lots of great articles from Timo, Glenn. Bergs has got a stack of great articles in there just for some light reading. So go to supercoach360.com and get into it. It's all great fun. The first player we want to have a look at tonight is this bloke, Matt Lodge. I've never really liked him much myself, but his figures over the weekend can't really be that ignored. He didn't play a full game, only played 40 minutes. Managed to get a Supercoach score of around about 65. That's when you take into account... he's 65, about 100 run metres, 3 tackle busts, and 1 line break to boot. So he did pretty well for himself. He did put up an outstanding score. I mean, that's for 40 minutes too. So if you take that over a 60-minute game, he's going to get very close to 100, about a PPM of 1.2. Certainly a player that we can't, that you should put on your watch list, or maybe even consider if you're looking for a super pod for round 1. The next player we want to have a look at is this kid, Tyrrell Sloan. Now, for some reason, Coach Griffin decided to start him on the wing and start Ramsey at fullback. Well, I think anybody that saw the game, everyone will agree that that's just not going to happen come round 1. Well, it shouldn't happen, that Sloan will be the fullback. Every time, when he did move to fullback, every time he touched the ball, he looked electric. He was active, he was really involved, and if ever a player is going to pass the eye test in Supercoach, it was this kid. He did look good. It's just a pity he plays for the Dragons, of course, but at another team, he'd certainly be a lock nearly first round. Probably one point to make is that when you're looking at him versus Kotoni Staggs, I'd be very tempted, if you're going Kotoni Staggs, maybe give this kid some thought over Kotoni Staggs, because between the two of them, the figures look a lot healthier for young Tyrrell, and I think he really did shine, and I think we'll see a lot more out of him as the season goes on. Probably the last player I want to mention, and this comes as no surprise to anyone, is the Tom Terrific Turbo. Tommy, he went gangbusters for 40 minutes. He had something like, if I just read off my sheet here, he had 1 line break, 2 tackle busts, 2 try assists. For an estimated Supercoach score of, I think, 65. Of course, those 65, that'll, it gives him, if he played 80 minutes, around about 130. Tom normally goes better in the back end of the second half anyway. So he's going to go very close to his sort of average of around 140, 150 points if you go by that. So the big question for all super coaches, and the big question for you boys there on the panel, given the fact that Tommy could very easily looks like he's going to hit 140, what do you do? Are you going to start with Tommy or are you not? Particularly if he's going to keep up that sort of form. And he does look good. It's a quandary I'm wondering about myself, wondering, Paps, if Paps doesn't start, do I somehow find a way to get rid of Pappenhausen, put Tommy in, etc.? But his figures from the weekend, I think he was scoring himself at about 1.2 ppm. And like I said, if he does that in a normal NRL game, he's not going to drop much coin, and he'd be one that you really want to get in your team. Anyway, that's about it from me. As I said, make your way over, all listeners, to supercoach360.com. Great website, and it's free. Tell your mates all about it. Jump on board. And until next week, until next time, thanks very much, boys, and have a great evening.
All right, thank you very much to Brad Smith there for putting that together. What a legend.
You're the man, Brad.
Thank you very much,
Cheers, Brad.
buddy. So, boys, he asked you a question. Bergs, you've pretty much already answered this, especially with your draft at the moment. But we've seen what you've had to do to achieve that, which is you've really got to make some heavy sacrifices. But with a PPM of, I think might have been closer to 1.5 if he pumped out 60 and 40 minutes the other day. But still, that's mighty impressive.
Oh, the bloke's a freak, man. He really is. He's the key. He's the key to all their attack virtually. Like, can attack from anywhere on the park too. Like, proved it last year. He's got long range tries in him still. Look.
If anything, he's gotten better. He's gotten faster, and he's ready to run all game now.
In a perfect world, at this point, I might get rid of Teddy and keep Turbo.
Who do you put in as a cheapie? Because I got laughed out of the park for commenting on a Whisperer post about Xavier Savage the other day. Just like, mate, if you're going to shoot him down, why put him up as an option for someone to get?
Yeah, I don't know what that guy's doing. I beat him last year in the Hemis Cup. We all know what happens when I beat you. That's fucked.
Yeah.
Akon. You'd remember such times as last season.
That's right, Troy.
Rough.
But yeah, look, at the end of the day, whoever's cheap enough to run in there and get at least some decent points to turn over, or look, you've seen the team. I could probably do better with a bit of time spent on it. Like, let's be real, but it's a big ask to try to slot them two in there.
If you take their averages from last year, your second fullback really only needs to score 30 points. And if Tommy hits his 140 average, which I don't think will happen, but if he hits his average from last season, well, then you're already in front of Teddy and Pups or whatever.
Yeah, but if their combined average climb, then Turbo's got to keep
well,
up
that's
with
it, and Turbo drops, so
yeah, exactly.
it's risky.
So if you are going to do that then, if you are going to run that risk, if that's a way that you're going to be able to squeeze him into your side without having to make too many compromises, who's the option? Who do you actually put in at fullback?
I'd have a look at that Sloan.
He's still 460 or something, isn't he?
Still fucking 400,000, 300,000 cheaper than the other two.
It's true.
It's still a massive. That's a massive gamble. Like you said, they don't have points in them.
And then what else you have to do is later on in the season you have to find $500,000 possibly to upgrade to a Teddy or a Pups for your run home. That's a lot of money to find.
Well, with the boost, that's easier now, but
it is, but still,
it's possible, especially when you get to nothing season. But that's it. It's a question of where do you find that cash. At some point throughout the season, you're gonna have to find at least $500-600K ultimately to do those upgrades.
And then if you don't start with Nath, you have to find money for him.
Yeah,
you don't start with Dave for feeder. You have to find money for him.
Just due to the lack of cheapies that I know about at this point, I ended up having to drop Nath to be able to cover for getting people like Billy Walters and just spreading that money. that little bit more to be able to get those 250k players instead of the 180k, 185s. Oh man, it is rough this season. Some of these players are so expensive, and actually trying to put the jigsaw together of your side is just, it's a menace. Still in my head in. I've only tried to do it once or twice. No,
Yeah, just steer clear.
Yeah.
Till TLT.
Makes you crook.
Supercoach 360 podcast.